Daily Detroit is brought to you by the community. Support our work at patreon.com/dailydetroit.
Hey everybody, welcome to your Daily Detroit. It's Thursday, February 22nd, 2024. I am Jer Stay, sharing what to know and where to go in Southeast Michigan from the beautiful Daily Detroit studio at Techtown. Across the table from me and in for Norris Howard. Well, are you really in for Norris? You're just here when you can get here. Shianne Nocerini, how are you?
I'm great, Jer. How are you?
It's so good to have the producer out from behind the glass, if you will.
Yes, it's always great to be here talking on air.
Yeah, and we've got some interesting things to talk about today, but I think we should start with our favorite segment, Where We've Been.
Where we've been. So, Jer, I don't know if you've known this or not, but I've really been stalking that Pie Sci in Oak Park.
You, Robin, everyone I know in that sector of town.
Yeah.
There was a wall of photos of Pie Sci. I was like, maybe I have to go all the way up there and do this. But then I realized Pie Sci is right down the street, so I don't need to. But all right, thoughts, new location. It's always good to figure out, have they been able to replicate their vibe?
For those who don't know, this is just a takeout spot now. It's super small in there. You go in, you get your pizza.
This is in
Oak Park on 9 Mile.
Okay.
So right on the Ferndale Oak Park border. I said, you know what? I know I'm going to be on the show next week. I need to try this pizza out.
Right, because Norris is traveling.
He is.
And just as a heads up, we did not throw Norris in a trunk. We did not hide Norris in a small room. We did not throw him into the salt mines.
We did not.
He is coming back.
He will be.
Because one time, somebody they had some health issues. They were off. Didn't want to talk about it. The emails. So whenever we can, we try to tell people, it's not you, it's us.
Right.
And he's fine. And he's actually really fine. He posted pictures of seal pups.
I think he's doing great.
He's doing better than all of us.
Yes. We went to Pie Sci for pizza on Saturday night. And let me tell you, it was great. We ordered a round margarita pizza because my son loves a margarita. We ordered the square Baby Got Barbecue pizza. Delicious. And then we also ordered, I was like, you know what? Since we're trying it out, we're getting a salad. We're getting dessert.
And let's be clear, you have a whole family. So it isn't
Yes.
like me where I just sit alone at the dinner table.
Just eating a bunch of different
eating
pizzas.
a bunch of different pizzas.
When we do that, we try to have the group available so we can all try it. So we got the Appley Ever After salad, which had mixed greens, apples, feta cheese, unfortunately walnuts, so I couldn't really eat it, and balsamic. I forgot to tell them no nuts. But what I could taste, it was delicious. And then we got the Evil Bread, which is a cinnamon breadsticks with glaze.
Okay. So husband, thumbs up?
He liked it, yeah.
Okay. His palate's a little different.
He is.
Kids.
My son really liked both pizzas.
Okay.
And he's usually not a square pizza person.
Parental unit?
I think she liked it. She didn't really say much. She just kind of ate it and stayed quiet.
Okay.
Overall, thumbs up around the table. You know what's funny? Robin also went to Pie Sci the same day.
I saw that.
I know.
That's part of the wall.
I know. I was like, hey, we got it too.
Robin Runyon of Urbanized Detroit. Go check out her work if you haven't. She's on the show sometimes. Well, glad to hear it. And it makes me want to grab some Pie Sci this week. There's a place that I've been, but you've also been.
Yes.
Because we needed some things
We
for
did.
the studio.
We did.
And here's the thing. We are podcasters.
Yeah.
We do not have a budget
No.
at all. And so where do we go?
Ikea.
And I want to share something with people that's from our younger years. I actually can have the rights to play the song.
So
There's this
excited.
great thing that we were singing on the way to Canton. It's by Jonathan Coulton. It's a song literally called Ikea. And there's a great lyric in there that it's furniture for college kids and divorced men. But actually, gussied up, it's going to be perfect in this studio. Here's the thing. Check this out. If you haven't heard it before, it's pretty funny.
Long ago in days of yore, it all began with a god named Thor. There were Vikings and boats and some plans for a furniture store. It's not a bodega, it's not a mall. This hill thinks for apartments smaller than mine, as if there were apartments smaller than mine. Ikea, just a moke and some pine and a hand
Speaking of Canton, we got an email.
We got an email, Jer. What does it say?
So listener Stephanie, and I appreciate you so very much, listen to the episode that me and Norris Howard were having about Canton and the suburbs and Detroit kind of feeling a bit disconnected to their soul. And I meant it in more of like a not slagging on Canton way, but on a just more connections to those places is good kind of way. But, Norris lives out that way, but also had some mixed thoughts, it seems.
Yeah. I feel like with Norris, I can't speak for himself because I'm not him. But to me, while I was listening and editing the show, to me, I feel like he had some constructive criticism for the area he lives in. But I don't necessarily think you would buy property in a place that you absolutely hate.
Well, I'm going to go to this email and let's talk about it. Just was doing a bit of catch up listening to Daily Detroit this morning on my commute from where I live in Canton to where I work, Wayne State. Canton will never be a city of Detroit or even have some of the cool features of other suburbs, but it definitely has a soul and its own identity beyond Ford Road and Ikea. Our family is a split commute. My husband is on call in Ann Arbor, so western suburbs is where we must stay. We moved to Canton for the location. We have stayed and loved it for the diversity. Canton is a fun mix of every culture under the sun. We are white and my kids are the minority at their Montessori daycare. They are exposed to 4 to 5 languages being spoken at school. Thing is, this diverse mix, although it looks different than what you would find downtown, actually reminds me a lot of why I love the city of Detroit. You step out your door and never know what new thing you will learn about a different culture. My kids are 7 and 1.5. My kids know what Diwali is because we can hear the fireworks every year from our house. We watch holiday twinkle lights go up almost year-round for different holiday celebrations. My son and I play a game guessing which culture is celebrating which holiday. We live in North Canton, so we can easily go to Plymouth for any of the small-town ambience and fine dining, but are also a half a mile from Ford Road, so best of both worlds. We can walk to many restaurants that are not on Ford Road and frequently don't always drive to get what we need on a given day. The best restaurants and shops are hidden in random strip malls, El Amir, Cedar Produce, Ruckus Taco, The Custard Company, and more. Sorry this became a bit of a long email, but I really feel people misjudge Canton all the time, and as a working mother of small children, it has become a wonderful place for us to live. We got a ton of feedback about Canton in general. Turns out we got a bunch of listeners out there. I can't help but think, Shianne, this reminds me of when you moved to Oak Park.
Yes, it reminds me a lot of when I moved to Oak Park.
And the vibes people gave you when you moved to Oak Park.
Yeah. Now, first thing I have to say, I have been to Custard Company, and I absolutely love them. Like, I will drive from Oak Park to one of the locations of Custard Company because they are that delicious. And also their Instagram slaps. I don't disagree with that. I also live in kind of a misunderstood city.
I think a lot of people think that it's all Jewish still.
I think so too. And not to say that there isn't a large Jewish population in Oak Park. Generally, like more so closer to the Southfield northern border, but we have a lot of diversity in Oak Park as well.
So it's actually like 36% white, 53% black, and 2% Asian.
Yeah, I can see where she's coming from, though, from people like talking down about Canton because all they ever think about is Ford Road and Ikea. And I think you can really find the gems when you look around and you get off of the road, like she's saying. I don't mind going to Canton. My sister lives in Northville. We often are on that side of town. And so I will look forward to trying out some of those smaller places in the future.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's a symbiosis between Canton and Plymouth. And, here's the thing. You can't compare like a suburban downtown to like Chicago or like Tokyo or something.
No. I do want to say that I think Norris was a little unfair to downtown Plymouth.
Really? Okay, do tell. And of course, by the way, we're going to give Norris time to respond just because he's not here. That doesn't mean we're not going to give him time to respond.
Of course. I like downtown Plymouth. I think it's not one of those fake downtown vibes. Remember when Novi tried to make a downtown?
Yeah.
Right?
Someone tried to hire me to produce a cooking show out there.
Yeah.
They had no money. So guess what? They didn't hire me.
No. I think that they do a really good job of finding a really good balance of small businesses, keeping it local, keeping family entertainment at the forefront. I mean, you got that cute little theater down there that you can get cheap tickets to.
The Pen?
The Pen.
That's right. I like their Instagram a lot. They did some really good science during the pandemic.
Yeah. When my son was little, we took him to see Cars 2 there because they were doing like old run movies, and it was great. I miss having like old movie theater vibes now that main art is gone.
I will also shout out the Ebenezer, the speakeasy
yes.
in Plymouth. I've been there a couple of times. Pretty good.
Yeah, so have I. They do really good mocktails. So,
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So I like downtown Plymouth. I think it's a fun place, and I don't mind going down there.
One of the reasons I enjoy doing this is the diversity of opinion, Shianne.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So it'll be interesting to see what Norris has to say about this one. But I appreciate your note. I appreciate you listening, Stephanie, and you are heard. Shianne,
Yeah.
we might get in trouble with people for this segment.
How so, Jer?
Have you seen the rendering for that sign that they're putting in for the NFL draft?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's an update to the saga if you haven't seen the Detroiter net lately.
Right.
There was that crazy AI rendering BS.
Right.
That was clearly not it, but a lot of people thought it was. Like a lot of people thought this was going on 75 and like had the Hollywood
94.
font. Well, no, because the rendering showed 75.
Oh, that's right. But it's going to be on 94.
It's going to be on 94.
Yeah.
And that wasn't an official rendering. A social media site came up with that. With a little, like, I don't know, like Mid-Journey or whatever. You put in a command and whatever.
Right.
This is where we got to be careful about AI.
Mhm.
It's not the stuff that's, like, so close.
Yeah.
It's stuff that's so far.
Mhm.
The official rendering came out for that sign, Shianne.
I know. I saw it. Hollywood sign. This is not.
What in the Timu?
I don't know what this is.
So, I do know what it is. I went ahead and I pulled it into our graphic design app.
Right.
It's Helvetica Bold at an angle.
Oh, gosh.
So my father was an artist.
Yes.
And the thing is, the one thing he hated most was stuff that was nice, that was
Nice.
inoffensive. And here's the thing. This is so inoffensive and so neutral. Other than saying Detroit on it, it says nothing about Detroit,
No.
in my opinion. And it's so inoffensive that it like means nothing. And this is a total cost, according to one listener, $425,000 for the NFL draft, unanimously approved with no debate by Detroit City Council. I feel like this should have been up for debate just on, like, we can talk about the money part alone, but I've talked to a lot of people, and I know that's why I'm saying unpopular opinion. I've talked to a lot of people who are like, hey, I'm really excited about this sign. When we do a little Instagram poll, there's a bunch of people who like this design. I think it's trash. I mean, it's going to get built one way or another. So the city invited media to go out. We were actually doing some other reporting. We got the invite at like 2 hours before they opened it up for this. It was just like a rush thing.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to get some sort of view out there. I mean, I'm glad they broke our hearts now.
Like you were saying, it's so inoffensive, it's offensive. And I just want to know who signed off on the actual design.
What's crazy to me is that there's like 1,000,001 interesting Detroit designs. There's even like a City of Detroit branding schema.
Yeah.
With fonts involved in it. And you know what? There's so many other, if you want to go in the Helvetica family,
Yes.
there's just so many other things that we could do that I feel like we went for the super safe middle. And I get hell about this, that sometimes my tastes are a little bougie. I get a lot of hell about this.
A little.
A lot. Okay. But I want it to say Detroit. It says Detroit literally, but I want it to feel like it is not only sans serif, it is sans soul.
Yes.
And font nerds will know what I'm talking about.
Also the angle.
Well, so the angle, I think that's so that you can read it going down the freeway.
Yeah,
right?
I can
Because
see that.
it's going to be designed to be going down the freeway where you're going at 70 miles an hour and
True.
you need to read this thing. Clearly, there's a lot of people who want this.
Yeah.
And, as somebody who has to salt their own streets, I'm a little annoyed about $425,000 all told for a sign. I'm not against the sign. I actually think signage is great. And look, there's this money going into surface parking lots downtown that a lot of people don't like. And I don't love it, but I also know these are the kinds of things that happen before big events.
I mean, I just want to say something. I have been to some of these surface parking lots downtown, and they are horrible. So I don't like the fact that city money is going towards paying these.
There should be like a foundation for
Yes.
this kind of thing.
But there's not.
There's not.
There is a certain type of visual impact that a wholly gravelly parking lot does not pass the vibe check for people who are coming into town. And I just also want to say, one of my friends from when I lived on Mackinac Island. She lives in Alpena with her family. Her and her husband came down this past weekend for the first time since like 2009 to stay downtown. And she was like, holy moly, this is not the Detroit of yore. So I understand why they're putting so much money towards things like parking lots and like refinishing them, even though they are privately owned and they should be upkept.
For sure. Circling back to this sign, I feel like it's giving me big Taylor football bridge vibes.
Yes.
I mean, you needed to build a bigger bridge to cross that road.
Yes.
It's a very wide road, and I understand. I'm for art. I love art, and maybe I'm being a snoot because this art isn't for me.
You are looking at this art from the aspect of an artist's son. And it is nice because it does not give us any feelings.
And people want to feel feelings about Detroit. And I think maybe that's at the end of the day what I feel the worst about with this particular sign.
One of the other things that when I was reading about like the sign, they said, it's going to be like the Detroit version of the Hollywood sign. And it's like, but is it?
Because the Hollywood sign, it's not just about the sign.
No, it's about the lore of the sign. The sign was put up as like advertising for a studio. And then it went into such disrepair that they wanted to tear the sign down. And then a group of people who loved the sign put their money together to save it. And now it is this huge landmark. But the other thing is Jer, how tall is the Detroit sign going to be?
10-foot letters, which on the scale of being on the hill of a freeway embankment, I kind of get.
Right. Do you know how tall the Hollywood sign letters are?
I've been to Hollywood. I've seen it from a distance, but I do not know.
Those are 50-foot letters on the side of that mountain.
Wow.
That's like 5 Detroit signs. Now, granted,
That might look ridiculous.
it would look very ridiculous on the scale along 94. But Hollywood sign, it is not.
I'm interested to see what people think. Obviously, the cover art is going to be this sign. So I'm curious to see what people think and have their feedback. Am I being too snooty? Am I over the top here? I just feel like if we're going to drop this kind of money into a civic project, and I love civic projects, I love art.
I love public art.
I think art should be supported. So I'm not necessarily against it. And I remember, I was talking to my barber and he was on the east side, he's very, very positive about the idea of this sign, but it was off of that social media AI rendering.
Right. Now, that AI rendering was bad.
It was bad, but it was very different. It had the same font as the Hollywood sign.
Yeah, but it's bad that I liked the AI version more, and I didn't like the AI version.
On the plus side, Shianne,
Yeah?
it wasn't Comic Sans.
No, and at least it wasn't papyrus.
Little victories. I would love your thoughts. dailydetroit@gmail.com or 313-789-3211. Shianne Nosserini, so good to see you.
It is great to see you too, Jer.
As always, 5 stars on your favorite podcast app if you like. Feedback, I shared the email before, but I'll do it again, dailydetroit@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Jer Stays.
And I'm Shianne Nosserini.
Remember that you are somebody, and we'll talk tomorrow.